Hello, boys and girls. I am here today to talk about your new project. It is the piece that you will be using the colored construction paper for. We are going to be creating imitative folk art. What is folk art? First of all, it's spelled kind of funny. So I'm going to write it down to show you. Folk art is created by people without formal training. They don't go to art school. They simply create art based upon things that have been created before. Maybe somebody taught them what to do. There are a lot of communities that create folk art around our world. Okay? Folk art is, I think, so unique, and oftentimes these are the pieces that I particularly buy when I'm buying art when I travel. Okay, so let me show you a couple examples of that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about the map. This is North America, all right, and we share this beautiful land with two other countries. So I've drawn some dots on this map, and hopefully you can see. Right here in the middle, that is where we live, Lee Summit, Missouri. And this section of North America is the United States, along with Alaska, which is huge, and it's way up here. We also have Hawaii, which is, over here, somewhere off the map. This is Canada. Canada is a very cold region because it's closest to the North Pole. This is Iceland. So down here, though, to our south is Mexico. So if you take Lee Summit and you go south and then you go west, you will find Mexico. Mexico is closer to the middle of our earth, which makes it a very warm place. Anytime you're closer to the, oh my goodness, it fell right out of my head. Anyway, it is a very warm tropical place. I personally love Mexico because my parents have a retirement home that is way down here, right there at the very edge of Texas. So it is really close to Mexico. It's so close that if we drive for less than 10 minutes, we come to a bridge and we're able to walk across the Rio Grande River, which flows right along the border between Mexico and the United States, and we go and spend the day in Mexico. And when we go over, there are many, many pieces of folk art to be purchased. They have lots of silver jewelry, lots of leather goods. They also have baking goods, such as real vanilla. They have just oodles and oodles of amazing, beautiful things for you to buy. So one of the best things, the most fun things that we do when we go to Texas is go to Mexico, and then we also do a trip over here because right on the Gulf Coast is Padre Island. I don't know if you've ever been to Padre Island, but if you have, it is located right here. So we take a little short drive. It's about 45 minutes from my parents' place, and we'll spend the day at the ocean and then come back. So the Mexican piece of art that we're going to do today is a Mexican mirror, and we obviously don't have mirrors, so we're going to be using some aluminum foil from your kitchen. But before we get started, I wanted to show you a couple pieces of art that I have from Mexico that I happen to have here at school. This particular guy is an Oaxaca sculpture. He is cut and carved from one piece of wood, well actually two. The tail is removable because it's so fragile. You have to remove that piece. But the rest of him is just one piece. And he is completely hand painted and very, very cool. So again, he's called an Oaxaca sculpture from Mexico. When I walked over, I I bought him. I think he's great. Here is something you'll find a lot of is pottery from Mexico. And it is typically made out of a red pottery clay. And then you can see lots of beautiful detail in bright color. So these are just two pieces that I happen to have at school. I actually have quite a few pieces from Mexico in my house. Some of them are in my bedroom and other places. I really love Mexican culture and their art. So this project I thought was perfect. So right now I'm going to give you a moment and you're going to need to pause this video to go find a couple things. You are going to need to find your very colorful paper, construction paper, and I'm going to show you this white one because it just happens to be sitting here. You're also going to have to find a circle to trace. Now, circles can be all over your house. This is a lid from one of those big jugs of ice cream, and it would work perfectly. Another good idea is a paper plate or even a plate in your kitchen, and you need to find maybe even a clock, I don't know. Find something that will fit on your paper that you can trace, all right? You need a pencil, you need some markers or crayons, scissors, the circle to trace with, the piece of very colorful construction paper, and a little piece of aluminum foil, okay? Go get those things and then come back and see me. All right, everybody, I'm going to put this onto the camera, and we're going to start by tracing our circle with a pencil. So make sure your circle fits on your paper. I'm going to use white paper simply because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. If I chose a piece of construction paper that was a dark color, you would not be able to see. Okay, so now that I have my circle on here, I'm going to be drawing multiple circles inside, okay? So I'm going to start by just very slowly looking at the space to make my first circle. If you have other things that you can trace at your house to make this easier, feel free to pause the movie, go find those things, and then come back. Now, if you don't have something, you can do it the good old-fashioned way like I am. And you're just looking at the space, trying to keep it the same. It is not going to be super perfect, but that's okay. Any handmade art is, it has imperfections in it. Okay, so I just slowly continue to come around, and hopefully once we get back over here, it meets, okay, and that's pretty good. It seems a little lopsided right there, but that's all right. So after you get the first circle drawn on the inside, you're going to do another one, okay? So this one we could choose to be a little thinner. So I'm going to keep this circle a little bit closer to that circle that I just did. Excuse me, crayons, you're in my way. All right, as I spin my paper to make it easier for me. All right, and I am just creeping along here to get my next circle. All right, so let's talk about the piece of foil for just a moment. I pulled off a piece of foil that is actually way too big, but I want to show you that you're also going to need some sort of a circle to trace on here. I have some sour cream. It's a lid from sour cream. So I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to trace with my pencil around it, and then I'm going to pull that off. Okay, it leaves that nice indentation. At this point, you are going to need something under here, and what works really well is a paper towel. I'm going to take this paper towel, I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to slip it underneath my foil. That's going to give my foil just a little bit of cushion under there as I draw. So on your foil piece, normally if this was a piece of art that we were buying, this part would be a mirror. But because we don't have mirrors available to us, we are going to use this foil. And as I turn this over, I can see that this side is a bit more shiny. It does not matter to me which side you choose to use, but you just need to pick one and stay with it. Okay, inside your circle, you are going to come up with a design. I am going to draw these little leaf shapes. Do not push too hard, because you're going to notice that you're able to carve these shapes in very easily. Because that cushion is underneath there, you're going to feel, it's just a very unique feeling. Some people are like, ew, I don't like it, it's so strange. Other people really like it. I happen to think it's really cool, because it just, I don't know, it has just such a different feeling as you're kind of carving into this foil. Again, if you mess up and you tear your foil, you just need to retrace your circle and start again. Okay, so I'm going to do this little shape all the way around. And like I said, you can create whatever shape you want. There's really no wrong or right way, because this is an inspired piece. It doesn't mean it has to be exactly like what we would see in Mexico. But I will tell you that lots of lovely patterns and colors are very indicative of their art. Okay, I think I can squeeze maybe a couple more. I kind of got those a little bit more. Okay, so now that I have my little leaf shapes all over, I'm just going to do some little triangle pieces, just the tops of triangles as I go around. And then I'm going to leave the rest of mine plain on the inside. You can choose to fill your circle completely, or you can just do part of it and then let that nice reflective nature of the foil shine. Okay? Now, just like we have been designing this foil, the rings that we have created on our construction paper, they're going to be designed also, but they're going to be much more colorful. Alright, so I'm going to lay my foil to the side right now, and I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to start designing. Now, I happen to have all of these colored pens because I love colored pens. If you want to work with colored pens, you can. If you want to work with markers, that's fine. Colored Sharpies or crayons, colored pencil, whatever you want to choose is fine with me. If you want to do your designing with a black Sharpie and then come back in and fill it in with crayon or with marker, that's fine too. Okay, I'm going to use the black Sharpie because I want you to be able to see what I'm drawing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace over all of my circles because I want mine to stand out. You do not need to trace yours. You can if you choose to, but you don't have to. Now, I'm going to be showing you two different designs. One's going to be more complicated and one's going to be less. I want you to choose what is best for you as you begin to design your mirror. You know what's going to work for you, what you have patience for, and what you don't. If you choose something that is too difficult and intricate, and it has too many tiny